We are working this year because that way you give something a bit more versatile and adaptable for our clients. That's why first of all concentrate on the sectioning using the natural parting, and after mapping out the section where is the widest spot from the head shape, particularly on the top of the ear, working slightly offset because after the focal point will be at the front an offset fringe, and after working with a visual connection because as you understood we're going to disconnect the underneath and blending visually the top. That's why we're going to combine two techniques indeed, undercut and overcut together. That's why first I'm going to work with a soft perimeter, soft internal shape, and after introducing a bit more strength on the top, and later on we'll be able to start the hair with the label range to make it a bit more individual and texture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fabrice. As you can hear, energy, power, passion, the love of what we do. Obviously, another person who's going to embody that for us is from Norway. We have Simone. Please share with us what you're going to be doing with your colour for us today. So you've heard a little bit about the interactive collection, so time to share a little bit more. Obviously Fabrice, Ross and Simone will be developing the stuff, and you'll be able to see Simone's when it comes back later, and obviously the guys are going to be building the shape, and they'll talk through products, both Label M, how they're using it to create the looks. But obviously every year we launch a collection. This year it's the interactive collection.
Progression on from our collection last year. Every year we're working in the fashion industry, and hair becomes a very important part of that. And to take influence from fashion and link that into the collection is the influence behind interactive. So we've got 5 models here for you that represent the collection. Obviously the images that you see around the stand are the completed 8 looks. But if we just start breaking them down for you, we'll bring our first model on. This is a look called Victoriana. We always give a reference, a name to a particular look because it gives it a character, and we also look at the influence behind.
Resurrection dust to create a bit more separation and texture and volume at the crown, and some dry shampoo as well. So that way I keep the hair touchable but still separate. Finishing off with a bit of a spray, working with the pin-up collection from Interactive. That's why we got it on the step-by-step DVD if you want to reproduce it. The most important is to remove the weight underneath, working a bit more free-handed, using a lot of texturizing technique and working a bit more visually offset at the front, still maintain versatility on both sides. So the most important is to make it individual with the choice of length, obviously on the client. Hope you like it, thank you very much.
Thank you, Fabrice. So you can see the variation of texture that the guys have created. They've been building these shapes up. What they've done is they've made sure that they've utilised various different products, layered them up. One of the things that you saw him using resurrection dust. This has been an absolutely phenomenal success for us worldwide. It's a little fibrous dust that you add there. It's like instant texture and volume in a dust form. It's a fantastic little idea. It's a brilliant little product that we've come up with, and it's been so much fun worldwide. It's called Resurrection Dust, comes in a couple of different sizes. Very simply just shake that dust on and it gives you that volume. As you can see, Fabrice has used it to create something that's a little bit softer. You've seen Ross using it to build a lot more texture, layering it up and using it as a structure, or using it as a scaffolding if you like, to make sure that these things happen. Obviously we've got our offering hairspray in there as well, but this thing is such a revolution. Ross, share with us.
Thank you very much. Okay, so as we were saying, the beauty of this collection really is the simplicity in the haircuts. Tony&Guye travel the world every month without fail. So really, all these techniques happen to be able to travel on different hair types, textures, looks, all sorts of different people. So what we're going to be doing today, we're just very simply pivoting around the whole haircut, removing weight and texture. The main change within this has been to build up this editorial feel. So really working through with the souffle, like JP just said, with the Label M Resurrection Dust, we've really managed to build that texture right the way through. So really working quite smoothly with the top and getting a much more sort of soft, angelic sort of feel through the bottom. Hope you like it. Thank you very much.
Okay guys, so just to finish up, just want to stay there for a moment. Excellent. We're going to bring out the presentation models. We're also going to share colours working underneath, and obviously we want to progress and move on. With the shape, as you can see, they've got to work together, so we have a very strong sort of weighted feeling. So we decided this year, with this particular look, to go for the root area, to emphasise that, to glow. It's almost got an influence of kind of a grown out colour on it, but what it does, it creates shine and texture where it matters most, where the light hits it, and gives you that little bit more detail. Obviously these are all very exaggerated feelings, and they have changed slightly from the book. We don't necessarily want to continue doing the same thing. It's got to evolve as it does from individual model to individual model. Thank you.
Okay, on our next look, this is a look we call the Surma. Surma is really influenced by the African tribe, and basically it's the idea of changeable hair. This is worked around quite a classic shape. You take a classic shape and progress with it, you always know you're going to have a clientele that's going to want to wear that particular look. So commerciality is very key to us as well. With our 402 salons, obviously the client coming through the door, being able to interpret what we teach in our academies, translate that into a workshop and then into the salon is very, very important. Working here, technique, obviously we don't just want to keep always to the classic, we want to bend the rule that little bit. So working here, first of all, again with a subtle undercut, there's a subtle disconnection, but also there's a subtle shift in weight. So working from slightly shorter one side and then transferring the weight across to our longer side. Again, subtle disconnections work through, so you get a very seamless, very textured type of feel. The dressing here obviously key, working with the Label M product just to get this low hung, almost swept fringe coming over to this longer texture, but knowing that she can change that very simply. She could easily wear it across the other side, tuck it behind the ears, that type of thing.
Okay, so with the Surma, in the actual collection, this is a darker